Where's the link at to this?
Are we? Is the
Bitcoin?
multi-sig? Sorry, son. Is the multi-sig wallet ready, Pedro?
Welcome,
really.
everybody. Welcome in. It's another episode of the Meme Factory podcast. This is test stream number 53. Can't believe we're still fucking doing this. Anyway, this evening we we are graced by the presence of none other than Pedro. Hashtag or at retweet. How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me, Greg. I super appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. I mean,
we're a big fan.
We're all big fans of you.
You're a big fan.
I'm a way bigger fan for you guys.
Hence the username. So, why retweet?
I gathered a bunch of handles.
Have we started? Wait, have we started really?
I mean, kinda.
Yeah, we're live. I'm looking at the YouTube.
Okay. Sorry.
Is it live?
Yeah, we're live.
Fucking A.
Are we live?
I got my hands on a bunch of handles back when Twitter was still fairly new.
You like getting your hands on those handles, don't you?
I collect like domain names too and stuff like that. So yes.
Nice hands, Pedro.
So when
down,
did you
Sean.
enter the space?
I bought the top in like 2017, like a lot of people did.
Your public class.
Yeah. I bought a big chunk of it, and then it like nosedived. I bought Litecoin too, and Litecoin did worse of a nosedive and never quite recovered. I have like a trait where I'm super my wife calls me a donkey. Yeah. I'm regarded. I don't like to. I'm stubborn, so I bought it all the way down, thinking that I was just gonna sell it when it creeped back up. It just kept going fucking down. It went. I rode it all the way down to like 3,500. That was like early 2018, right, when it did that.
All right,
and
let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I don't want you going too far down Yellow's rabbit hole here.
All right.
I know you know the format of the show. We need to get the ad read done. So the ad read is now in your DMs. If you could take a second to check that out. And
Wait, he gets an ad read too?
of course, he gets an ad read as a guest.
Oh yeah.
There's no way.
What do you mean now?
Nico, one thing.
Are you refusing an ad read?
Let Nico in.
Do it.
Okay.
Nico can come in.
There's no.
I'll send them.
Do
I'll
it.
send
All right, tell you what. I'll send you.
For
I'll send you the real ad read. Here
For
it
the
is.
audience, Greg just sent me like my personal, my full name and address to read to everybody.
Yeah, you are our privacy guy, so do it.
I'm terrible at privacy. If I was the privacy guy, you guys wouldn't have that information. Okay. All right. Hello, friends. I'm Pedro, and this
Did you
episode
say
of
me and Pedro?
God.
Did I hear that?
you guys totally screwed up the Spanish on purpose to make it sound like I didn't know. Anyways,
Okay.
I'm getting off track. This episode of the Meme Factory podcast is brought to you by Suscorp and their new product line, Baby Bitcoins. As all of you will know, Suscorp has been in the business of security for a long time, but today we are extending the reach of our operations to cover infants. Not literally, because that could cause suffocation, but figuratively, which is much safer. Anyway, shut up and riddle me this. Have you ever thought, I sure wish my baby could remember his own seed phrase? Me either, but Suscorp thinks this is a good idea. Well, worry not, you terrible parent, because Suscorp is giving you the chance to avoid further fuck-ups you might make as a parent by taking full custody of your baby's first seed phrase. Free! That's right. We know you're too busy with work to take proper care of this stuff for them, so we can take that responsibility away for you today. We'll even run their own node for them so that you don't need to trust anyone but us and AWS. Amazing. Offload that freeloader's Bitcoin stash today, and we'll send you double the amount back as a one-time bonus. Find out more at Suscorp on Twitter.
Okay.
Hey.
I feel like Pedro didn't read it all. I think there's something that we're missing.
Maybe I'll have to paste it on Twitter later. All right, so Pedro, I heard today that we have to change the Bitcoin code. Are we?
What's up,
are we having to
Nico?
change? Oh my goodness!
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to address that he had just entered, but I don't know if I can ignore that.
Look at
He's using one of those NASA lenses.
Is that what it is? Is that what's making his hair look so nice?
Nico, can you hear us? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, what's up? What's good?
Welcome.
So,
Yellow.
the birds happened.
It did.
Yeah, you need to get the fuck out of my house, Yellow. All right, you've been here 3 months now.
No,
Different merge.
no.
He's trying to beat Chair Force's record at Great House.
Hey, Greg.
That's
Greg has a dope house, man. Greg has
That's
a
the
nice setup.
body.
Don't
That's
dox
a
me.
kind of
Don't
like
dox me,
body
bro.
and rope legs. That kind of merge. So I wanted to say congratulations to all the heads for the merge. I know from a technical point of view, it was kind of hard. Like Solidity especially is like buggy and shit. So I don't know how you guys did it, but you did it. You now have apparently 7 entities, nodes, call them what you want, that produce the 67% of your transactions. Amazing, guys. You did good. No, really, congrats. But if you felt like a victim to the ESG propaganda and you wanted to do it, and now your 0.2 consumption of energy went to ETC apparently, so that didn't work too. So I guess you won, kinda. Congratulations, and I wanted to read what Vitalik said, actually, because it's extremely funny. It says, and ironic, proof of work is based on the laws of physics. So you have to work with the world as it is. God damn it, wow. Whereas because proof of stake is visualized, in this way, it's basically letting us create simulated universe that has its own laws of physics. Basically, what he's saying in your face is, you know what, like, if I'm not gonna like this like protocol thingy here, I'm gonna change it. If I don't like that thing over there, like, I'm gonna change it. If I don't like this and that and that, I'm gonna change it. And but we're still decentralized. We're still better. And fuck the Bitcoin guys, boiling the oceans and shit. Their Gigi might say that in Bitcoin, the map is the territory, but here in Ethereum, Vitalik is saying like the territory is mine, like completely mine. It's fucking, I don't know, man. I see the merge. Again, it was like, I didn't expect it that to go without bugs. They have a few transactions stuck, but it went kind of smoothly. I didn't expect it. Congrats on that, but I think down the line, you're gonna realize you did a big mistake.
Okay, Yellow. Reject crypto fantasy. Embrace
fuck that.
Bitcoin reality.
You completely fuck me on that. Like, I had a good idea.
Reject crypto fantasy and embrace Bitcoin reality.
Never again. I'm gonna keep on doing it. What I keep on doing like for years now, making my own memes. Fuck your campaigns. Never.
Your campaign.
I'm not doing a collab. Nothing.
What's up, Rusty?
Oh, good morning. Sounds like I came in at the right time.
Yeah, perfect timing.
As usual.
And to the idiots that say in some threads I saw them like, yeah, but like it might be like 7 entities now producing 67% of the transactions in Ethereum after the so-called merge, which is basically a fork. Call it what you want. Like, but Bitcoin has like 5 main mining pools. It's not the fucking same. I can switch and point it to somewhere else if I don't like it. Like, If you don't like it and Coinbase say no, guess what? You get nothing.
Well, they can't even get anything right now, right? Like if their ETH is there, they can't take it out. Is from what I was reading, if they're staking 6 months.
It's locked.
Stuck there, and then I saw a stat that something like 250,000 transactions are hung up right now, something like that.
It's locked as it's like Hex 2.0.
You are the exit liquidity.
All right, so I don't want to get too far off topic. Pedro really wanted to talk about nodes tonight, and I want to give him the opportunity to talk about why that is, why it's important to talk about in the first place.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, running your own node is a really critical part to ultimately having full sovereignty over like your wealth. If you have enough of your wealth in Bitcoin, running your own node. If you're not running your own node and you're looking at like how much Bitcoin you have, you're literally trusting somebody else's node to tell you if that Bitcoin is real and the amount that you have. So that's why it's super easy to run your own node. I mean, anybody listening can probably do it right now without spending any money. Just downloading a piece of software and putting it on their laptop.
Well, like Rusty, hit him. What you got?
Hi, Rusty.
Hey, Rusty.
Yeah. Hey, good morning. It just sounded exactly something that Nico would say. I just wanted to point that out. That just sounded like an excerpt out of a sponsorship ad from Nico. It wasn't really a question.
Is Nico like a marketing director for Bitcoin? Congratulations, Nico. I'll take that as a compliment too, Rusty.
Nico,
Hey, Nico.
You don't actually have to raise your hand. Rusty's the only
Get
one
your hard wallet.
that needs
It's
to
the
raise
best
his hand.
hard wallet out
Take
there.
your hand down, Nico.
No, I mean, dude, I think it's as simple as this, right? Like, if you don't use your own node, you're trusting someone else's. Why trust someone else's? That kind of defeats the whole purpose, right?
Right. Like this thing happens in steps. Totally get that. Like some people are still listening to this probably with some Bitcoin on an exchange, right? So this isn't us shaming anybody that isn't running their own node already or confirming their own transactions.
We'll do that later.
No, I don't. I'm not going to do that. The Bitcoin Twitter is good enough at the purity test. I'm just really interested in helping people do that. That's something that I'm passionate about. I like testing all these different node stacks that are out there. I've tested all of them except I think Start 9 at this point. I still haven't done that one.
All right, so back that up. For anybody who doesn't know, what do you mean by I've tested a bunch of node stacks?
So there's a lot of different node stacks out there. There's software.
Let's back it up even further. What the fuck is a node stack?
A Bitcoin node stack is just software that's running Bitcoin Core on, usually people do this for a Raspberry Pi, although I'm pretty passionate about using better machines than just a Raspberry Pi. But it's like pre-loaded software that they put on a Raspberry Pi that has Bitcoin Core and then the option of running a bunch of other apps on top of Bitcoin Core that lets you do fancy stuff like running Lightning and different things like that, besides just confirming your own transactions. What's sort of like ironic about all of the node stacks and how popular they are right now is that a ton of people out there are running them specifically just for the ability to transact on the Lightning Network. They're not even connecting to their wallets that they're confirming transactions with their own node. They're just using it to run Lightning, which is great. I mean, it's great that the Lightning network is growing the way it is, but there's like this one more simple little step of just like usually using Electris to be able to verify your transactions from away from home. And they haven't gone to that extra little last step to activate Electris on their node stack and connect it over Tor to something like Blue Wallet or whatever.
And why is that important? Why should I care? Why shouldn't I just use Ledger Live, send my transactions, use their node, works fine?
Yeah, Ledger Live is a commonly used node by people that are running Ledger. The problem with Ledger Live, there's nothing wrong with owning a Ledger, by the way. If that's your hardware wallet, I'm not saying somebody needs to go out there and freak out and start going to a new, trying to move their coins around to a new wallet, and things get iffy like that, especially if you're not sure about what you're doing, right? But Ledger Live is particularly insidious software. Did I pronounce insidious right, Greg?
Insidious.
Insidious.
No. It's easy.
Insidious. Okay, great.
Yeah, we're not talking about who's the incestuous one? Is that Rope?
Yes, for sure.
Insidious is a different thing.
That's a racist.
Ledger Live is particularly bad software because it's so centralized, and they're by far probably the biggest hardware wallet. You can even buy like a Ledger at Best Buy now. I read the other day online.
The best place to buy electronics.
That should really be eye-opening to everybody that they're so big that they're in Best Buy. Like, imagine how far away we are from seeing a cold card at a Best Buy.
Pedro, that's a great transition because our new sponsor is Ledger Live. Ledger Live. Only wallet that comes with a gun for like present. Ledger Live. Get your Ledger now and get your free gun. Only on Walmart or whatever.
Yeah, I think that offer is only valid in the U.S.
Yep.
All right. So, and so think about how big Ledger is and how many people are using Ledger Live to confirm their transactions, to transact in it every day. Now, picture that scenario where like two people they both own a Ledger Live, and it's a Ledger, and they're using Ledger Live to interact with their Bitcoin, right? And think about something like what happened in 2016, 2017 with the fork wars, right? Like if they were as big now as they were then, and they would have decided to have gone into the big blocker camp, then they could have just switched their user base over to Bcash or something worse, right? And there's a good chunk of their user base who wouldn't have even realized what was going on. That there's this new airdrop that they just got, that they're now transacting in Bcash. It's possible that they could do something that far. And the other piece to Ledger,
I don't want to scare anybody that's using a Ledger right now. Even if something like that happened, you still have your Bitcoin on the main chain.
Right? Yeah, you do, for sure. But imagine how much more difficult it would have been to win that war. Right? That was a fairly, I know it was stressful, but it was a fairly easy war to win, considering that there wasn't all of this different infrastructure yet, and nothing was quite as big as Ledger at that point as Ledger is now. And the other thing about Ledger is that they're based in Europe, which is literally like
the freest
biggest
country in the world.
Is it a country, Greg?
Yeah, totally.
Well, anyways, so Ledger's based in countries. Right. It's a conglomerate of countries. They all are trying to keep people from exiting with their wealth, right? They don't want people getting out of the euro dollar. That's what is it called? The euro?
Christine Lagarde famously said, "We can't let people out of the exits," or something to that effect.
They don't want you. They don't want you on a life raft. They don't want you to own a life raft. They don't want you to get out of it, because that's just only going to make things even worse for their currency.
They're still selling plates at the Titanic dining room.
Unless you're greedy, then they can't like get rid of you.
So think about whether or not they're in the pocket of some European country right now, like Ledger. I mean, I would be surprised if Ledger wasn't feeding all of your transaction history to their whatever government that's in control of them, basically, because of how much transactions they're seeing. There's just no way that they're not feeding that information up. So that's just another reason why I would be really scared to be using Ledger Live as a way to interact with my Bitcoin.
All right. So now I've got an idea why you don't want to use any type of centralized service as part of your node stack and your Bitcoin stack. Of the stacks you've tested, what do you like? What don't you like?
Well, I mean, so I don't like the ones that are charging more for stuff that other ones are giving away for free, right? There's a race to the bottom with this right now.
I didn't realize anybody was charging.
Yeah. My node charges for extra things like running Tor. Exactly. Right.
All right.
So
there's a race, you said, or there's racism?
Both.
There's both. Yellow. Yeah.
There's racism in nodes and mining.
No. So the great part about your nodes, Yellow,
Yes.
I don't know how many nodes you're running, but it's just code. So code is speech.
Racist
And
racist code.
Yeah, but where is that? Where does the racism come? Is it
It-
because it
it
was started
comes
by
from-
gnomes or something?
it comes from Sean. So just if you look over on the screen here, yes,
Not your node, not your code. You know, so
wonderful. Yeah, that's great, Sean.
It's patronizing you. Are you going to take that song?
No, it's
That
that's
was
true
being
though.
genuinely nice.
If it's not your node, it's not your code, and
it's true.
vice versa.
Hey, not your node, not your code.
Oh my God, Nico looks like a giant from that. Like,
Oh
look at
my
that.
God, Nico
It's
looks
what
like a
CC is.
giant.
Nico's in beast node right now.
Beast
What
node,
sissies?
beast node.
Bro, fucking Pedro's bringing the sauce, man. I didn't know he had so much sauce. He's a sauce man.
Oh,
What are you talking about? Like, we wouldn't exist without Pedro. He fixed everything.
everything.
Dude, he fixed everything. I'm like, Pedro, I have a problem with the node, with the wallet. Oh, you do that. Pedro, my washing machine doesn't work. Oh, have you tried doing that and that? Like, okay, he fixed it.
Pedro, the store broke.
It didn't break, Greg. Just it's the bear market. Nobody's buying anything.
MFmerch.com. Go now and check
Oh,
out.
wait. Hold on a second. Can I interject for a second?
Maybe.
For sure.
Could you guys tell us, better said, more about the legendary having party in El Salvador?
Ooh, having party.
Having.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting ahead of himself, but may as well now, Sean.
Greg, are you going? You're going, right?
Oh, I'll be there.
Nico, are you not going?
Fuck yeah, I'm going. Hell
Okay,
yeah, I'm
I was gonna
going.
say.
He doesn't have anything else better to do. Are you kidding?
Well, no one will have anything else better to do.
It's true. That's true. It's very true.
I don't know what that was, but I'm
How
trying
many
it out.
pools are there going to be?
How
You
many
say
what?
Pools or boobs?
Both.
5.
5?
Did you find a venue already?
Yes, we have a venue. It's not locked in yet, but it will be locked in
Does
shortly.
that mean that it's going to be like a one boob woman going around?
Yes, that would be Greg. Greg will be the one boot woman.
Or someone has 3 boobs? Like Total Recall?
Original Total Recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Sure. So,
You asked
What did
about
you
you asked about the node stacks out there.
thank
Greg.
you. Thank you.
So the ones that so first of all, I don't really like any of them. They all have upgrade
Picky.
buttons.
Picky Pedro out here. Doesn't like any of them.
I just think that if you're gonna run Lightning, if you need to confirm transactions without like carrying your laptop around, things like that, then you should probably get a dedicated machine running Bitcoin Core that you just leave on at home. And in that scenario, a node stack is the easiest way to do it. It's gonna allow you to connect over Tor. Some of the more popular ones are like Umbrel is a super popular one. It's definitely the easiest.
That's your favorite, right?
It's
the smartest. You've told me before the smartest people use that.
I don't like Umbrel. I don't like Umbrel because of the upgrade button and because it's the same reason why I don't like Ledger Live. It's super centralized at this point. A ton of plebs are running it to be able to run Lightning. I mean, that's what happened last summer, right? A bunch of people that were we were all in the euphoric moment of pushing into the 60s area in terms of price. A lot of people started to transact with Lightning. El Salvador happened, so everybody wanted to get on it. They all installed Umbrel, and so a lot of people are using Umbrel, and for good reason. It's super easy to install. It's really clean when you have it set up. There's nothing
have a
wrong.
question.
Yeah.
Is there a centralized risk involved with everyone?
The centralized risk is the upgrade button, right?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Yellow.
Okay, so I'm watching it everywhere, and especially after 2017, like about addresses and Segway, and I don't get it. Like, can you explain like what Segway has to do with Bitcoin?
That's
Yes,
a good
so-
upgrade button.
That was a upgrade that allowed us to more easily use multi-sig, and at the end also made lightning possible. So thank you for bringing up SegWit Yellow. I appreciate that.
Can you go into the upgrade button? Like what exactly is
So
that?
it's my issue is the same issue I have with Ledger Live in terms of
Same
if
attack vector.
it's yeah. So if Umbro were to decide to pick using a particular version of Bitcoin that was contentious and maybe some of us didn't want to use, then they could just add that to an upgrade button. The users upgrade the next time they log into their Umbro, because that's what people do, right? You see the big flashing upgrade sign and you hit it, and hopefully you don't have to deal with it anymore. That's what most people do. So that's the attack vector with running Umbral, with running any of these stacks. They're all doing it. The problem with Umbral is that it's the big one. It's the best one. That's so it is the best, and it's also the one that I would be most worried about.
What about like Bitcoin Core?
Yeah, so that's just the software itself. That's just what a node is running core on a computer. You could do that right now on your laptop. If you don't have the space that it requires, you could just run it pruned. I would actually recommend that anybody do that. The easiest way is to download Spectre. Spectre is a wallet that interfaces over core. Spectre will let you install core in the background. So you don't even, there's like one less step, and Spectre makes it really easy to connect to your ledger or to any other, or to a lot of the hardware wallets. That would be the easiest, cheapest way for anybody to do it. I know people have said, you got to go and upgrade your storage on your computer. I dispute that. You can just run it pruned. The only thing I would say is you definitely want to be running it with a solid state drive versus a drive that has a spinning disk. Spinning disks are going to have a high tendency to fail in the initial block download.
Really? Just not over time?
Over time too, but if you're running like a laptop from 2016, 2017 or so,
well, it's already got some miles on it.
Right. Yeah, you've got a spinning disk in there that's already not that's already close to failure.
How fast is that spinning disk?
7,200 revolutions per minute.
Some of them are that fast.
Can it
some
cut,
of them are 6,400.
Slower.
Some of them are 5,600.
Can it cut a piece of baloney?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Question from Marty's Al. Is Umbro open source?
Yeah,
No.
it's open source in the way that you can look at the code.
No.
The dispute that people have with Umbral is that they have a license on it that makes it so that people can't repurpose it for business reasons. But yeah, you can just look at the code. I look at it all the time.
I have it in my Windows 95 here. There's a click where you go to a folder and you click, like you can see it, but you cannot edit it. They haven't clicked the second button, the edit one. So you can see
edit
it.
I edit it.
How dare you?
So I want to back up. What's the you mentioned prune nodes. I've never messed with a prune node. I don't know what it is other than like it's missing a bunch of the old chain data. It's not a
you can pick how far back you want it to prune. So you can say I just want the last 50 gigabytes or 20 gigabytes, whatever you decide for your particular use case.
Other than saving hard drive spaces, I mean, does it have any other benefits, or are there any drawbacks to having a prune node?
Yeah, you get to the point where you start having operability issues with other pieces of software that you might want to run on top of core. Like if you want to run Lightning, you don't really want to do that on a pruned node.
But why?
So that is. So you're running into my technical capabilities here on it explaining. I'm not great. I'm not going to be good at explaining.
So we got meme translators here, man. Do your best. We'll fuck it up.
Yeah, Yellow, please, or Mr. Ver, please, please speak up.
Yeah, I have a question. What about the babies dying?
Mr. Ver, I'm not sure.
Thank you very much.
What is your concern here in terms of
babies are dying?
Is it because of
Bitcoin
mining?
In general, they're like dying at some point when they're old.
When they're old. So when they become adults, then,
Yeah, but they're
Adult
babies
baby.
at some point. Like, be sensitive, please. Okay, have some empathy.
I mean, did Nick Carter would we consider him a baby?
Yes. Man child.
I wish no ill will on
I don't either.
Mrs. Carter.
Yes, Rusty.
Rusty.
Yeah, I got a serious question this time. I am wondering why don't people just run nodes on the laptop? I'm sitting there, I'm doing thumbnails, doing some art. Why don't I just have the node software running in the background of my laptop, and it just syncs whenever I open it? I don't know if that works. Why can't I just do
that's
that?
actually a really good question.
Stick it with a
I
duct
don't
tape or what?
Thanks, Pedro.
I don't recommend that you have it running all the time. You don't really need to.
Like on a
after
scale
the-
of 1 to 10, how good was the question? With 10 being really good.
I would put that one at an 8 actually, because it touches on something that I should have talked about when I recommended somebody
That's it.
download.
Touched him in a nice place, Rusty.
You touched me in a great place, Rusty. Thank you.
Right in his node.
Rusty, do you have another question?
No, I'm not done with answering that one,
Oh,
Greg.
too bad.
Yeah, I'm not satisfied with the answer yet, so I was just leaving my hand up.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, so certainly you would want to down like the way I mentioned earlier using Spectre. That's a great way to just confirm your Bitcoin. Connect to a wallet, confirm your Bitcoin, be happy with it. Don't be that type of person that needs to go check and make sure they have the same amount of Bitcoin every 20 minutes. And if you're doing it that way, where you're treating it as cold storage, then you really don't want to be opening up Core all the time. It's going to be a drag on your computer. It's going to try to go and hurry up and download all the blocks that it might be missing, whether it's like a couple of days or a week or whatever. And if you're just doing it just to confirm your Bitcoin transactions and that your Bitcoin is the amount that you think it is, just do it whenever you need to do that. Don't try to keep up with you don't need to keep it synced up with the time chain at all times.
Not
Was
going
that
to
good
ask
enough,
Rusty if he
Rusty?
has another question.
Get your hand down, Rusty. It's
Rusty.
done.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. Sorry, my phone. There you go. Sorry, yeah, I'm satisfied with that answer. That was great.
Ooh.
That was,
I have a
thanks,
question for Nico. Where is he right now, and can he bring me a soda? I'm in the living room.
Oh, damn it, Yellow. Damn it. Yellow
Come on,
has
man.
emptied out. Yeah, Yellow's emptied out my fridge for the last 2 months.
Oh,
I fill it in the morning. I check at night. He's in there.
For
I kick him out of the house. He comes back
Yeah, but-
in. I don't know how.
It's open.
He
It's
keeps
open.
saying that, but I
Your
close
door
all the
is
doors every
open.
time.
Your door of the fridge is open. Like everything is like, oh, come inside. Treat yourself. It's okay. So I do.
You got to get out of my house, Yellow.
He doesn't have to do anything.
No.
So, Pedro, one of the things that cracked me up when I first saw your profile was that in the bio it says, "I identify as your father," which I just found absolutely hilarious, and I think it's still there to this day. Why is that the bio?
I've been using that as a running joke, but like that nobody else cares about for a long time. It's just like a standard response. If somebody says something to me that I think maybe it's dumb or maybe I don't like the person, then I just tell them that I boned their mom or something like that. And that's it. It's just a little
Just a mom
inside.
joke.
It's yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's just your mom, just a bang your mom joke. Hey, wait a minute. You've been talking to my mom when she comes on the stream.
Ooh,
It's
Kate
not.
O'Neill.
She hangs out, Greg. She hangs out in the chat.
Pedro, where were you in May of 1984?
Yeah.
Close. Pretty close.
I was hoping to talk about node hardware, right? The idea of being able to run, like if like if somebody does want to run a dedicated hardware machine.
Pedro, you can talk for whatever you want, man. Like,
Hey.
I want you relaxed and treat it like it's your show. Like, do whatever you want. Talk.
Thanks, Yellow. Thanks, Yellow. Okay, good. So now we're going to talk about
Go
hardware.
ahead and do whatever you want.
Pedro,
Great.
earlier you mentioned that you hate Raspberry Pis. Is there any hardware that you do like?
I don't actually hate
Pedro.
Raspberry Pis. I just think they're super overpriced right now. In fact, you can go on eBay right now and look at sold listings for Raspberry Pis. If you do a search for a Raspberry Pi 3, and there's an advanced search feature in eBay, you can go look at sold Raspberry Pi 3s, 1 gigabyte of RAM. These are garbage machines. They're super old. I actually, my first node was on a Raspberry Pi 3. It took like 2 weeks to download the time chain, and it was always crashing on me. It's just a really bad machine. And they're selling on eBay right now for around $100 because there's a shortage of Raspberry Pis on the market right now. So anybody that's looking to set up a node for the first time right now, just avoid the Raspberry Pis. You don't need it. You can easily get a Windows computer that's about the same size as Raspberry Pi, flash it with Ubuntu server in order to run something like Umbrel or something like Run Citadel. Both of those will run on an AMD 64 computer, which is just your standard computers that are available right now. You can do that all way cheaper than what you would do with a Raspberry Pi, and a lot more dependable, and the thing's just going to run for a long time. The only upgrade you would have to do would probably be to the hard drive. You would want to get a SSD stick that's at least a terabyte of space on it. So yeah, it's really smart right now to avoid the Raspberry Pis. If you already have a Raspberry Pi, you're already running your own node, and you're already confirming your own transactions, then good. I'm not saying you should go change anything. That setup is going to be perfectly fine. It's just super expensive and not nearly as reliable as some of these newer computers that are out there right now.
Now, if you're like me and you understood a third of the words you were saying there when you were talking about the hardware, it would be cool if there was like a Twitter account that gave me an idea of how to do a node upgrade from scratch.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for the freebie there. I am running at Node Upgrade on Twitter, where I'm occasionally posting stuff where I shit on a Raspberry Pi and promote some other hardware. And really, if you want to just go do a search on eBay for something like a Micro i5, which is Dell's version of a small computer that's about the size of a Raspberry Pi. Once you put one of Crypto Cloak's cases on your Raspberry Pi, it's going to be a lot bigger. And these computers are about the same size. I say i5 because that's the processor that you want to get. You don't want to get an i3. So yeah, you could get a i5 Micro, and they have a bunch of different fancy numbers on the other side of it. I won't try to rattle any of those off right now. But they're really good machines. The older ones are obviously going to be cheaper, but you can get a nicer older machine for around less than $200. Do the upgrade. You're going to be sitting at around $300 once you upgrade the hard drive in it. And then it's really easy. I mean, it might be a little bit intimidating, but I do have like a guide on citadels.org that somebody could go through.
It's in the show notes.
Oh, look at you go, Greg.
You did the work.
Thank you. Yeah, somebody could go through that if they wanted to run the custom way, but it does also have a video of how to flash Ubuntu on one of those computers, and then really easily, it's just one line of code that you have to put into the command line for Umbrel.
Back up a second.
Umbrel,
So what? You stand in front of the computer and then you take your clothes off, and then it's at a new operating system?
yeah, that's why I mentioned there's a video that shows you how to flash it, Greg. But a lot of people that are listening right now probably might have flashed or have read about how to flash something like Umbrel on a what do they call those little cards?
OnlyFans.
Yeah, no, that's not it.
Nope.
One of those little micro SD cards that go into the Raspberry Pi.
They're just called micro SD cards.
I was at a loss for the name for a second.
SanDisk, I think, is the company. Is that what you're looking for?
There's other companies, but yeah, sure, SanDisk is fine.
Okay, so
Jeez.
first of all, Kate O'Neill, what's up? She's in the crowd right now.
Hi, Kate.
That's not the first time that Pedro said that to Kate. Oh, we say it every week. She's awesome.
Yes,
And
she is.
second of all, Pedro, everyone else, I didn't know Pedro was coming on today. Well, I knew he was going to come on the show. I didn't know he was going to be our guest today. And I actually ended up buying a hardware node from citadels.org, Mr. Pedro's website. So I was customer number one.
Customer number one, probably my only one for now because I'm not advertising it. I don't have the link anywhere. Like that link was made just for you, Sean. But I do have some. I do have some of those microcomputers that I'm playing around with, and I will be at some point selling them. You always got to be careful about buying a computer that you're going to run stuff that interacts with your money on from somebody that knows that you're going to do that. So you really should trust the person that you would be interacting with in that way. I don't have that anywhere on my site in terms of being able to buy it, mostly because I'm trying to figure out how to do that in a way that falls in line with my own beliefs about privacy and about how somebody should be interacting that way. I think I could do it in a way where maybe I was just selling like a bare bones kit and then directing somebody to go buy the 1 terabyte SSD and maybe some instructions on how to install it.
What if you started making it, but like you're blindfolded?
I actually did that with Sean's. So
Oh, blindfolded. I'm getting a blindfoldedly made node coming my way.
That's right. It's in the mail. But yeah, I'm trying to work through how to be able to sell something like that and do it in a way that nobody has to trust me at all, and they shouldn't. I mean, unless Sean's my friend, we've known each other a while. I think he trusts I wouldn't do that, and vice versa. But nobody else should really be trusting me. Don't trust, verify. That's right. Yeah, it's one of our sayings for a reason.
Yeah. So we were even talking yesterday, and you were saying that for someone like me, I'm not very technically inclined. So you were saying that Umbro might be the best option for me.
Yeah, I really do think that even though I have a lot of reasons why I wouldn't trust Umbro myself, and I don't mean trust. I mean, their software is fine just now as it is today. I'm not a coder. I can't read everything, but I've dug into it. Like they're not preventing anybody from digging into, like, once you've got it installed, I can jump around in command line looking at different directories. I can see all the same code that I've manually installed on another machine. There's nothing wrong with it from what I can tell. And somebody would have already fucking found it if there was, right? So a lot of people are trying to find stuff on all of these different node stacks out there, and that's great. I really appreciate people that are digging into it too. So there's nothing wrong with it as is today. And you're so knee deep into Bitcoin Twitter and in space in general that if something was coming, if they were running some kind of code that was contentious to what we think Bitcoin should be, then you would ditch it, right? Like you would hear all this noise and say, all right, fuck Umbro, right? Like you would know. So like from that standpoint, I wouldn't worry about it for you. It's more of like the masses, right? People, the normies that aren't as connected to some of this signal as we are.
Let me share the screen.
Okay, hang on. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Yeah, so I do recommend. So if the part about why somebody wouldn't run a node is because they're like afraid of the technical side of it, or anything else that gives them more like sovereignty, then I'm an advocate for how do we break down those barriers, right? Even though maybe I wouldn't do some of those things myself because I can do it the other way, and because I like doing it the other way, right? Some people just don't like doing it that way. Some people that is what would keep them from going that far. So I do advocate for the easier the better, as long as you know the risks, then you do. So you're good.
So Umbro is not equivalent to Ledger Live, is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. You're trusting a computer that's running code that's just running Bitcoin Core, and it's not, and there is no upgrade button. Like you would have to, you would probably not upgrade. there's going to be upgrades in the future, and oh well, I mean, you're going to run an Umbral, so there is going to be an upgrade button in your case. But like in my case, I'm running Core, and the next time there's an update, like it's going to be a pain in my ass to go in there, uh, reinstall Core, or do whatever update. It's not a pain in the ass, but I have to like connect the keyboard to something that I don't ever connect the keyboard to, right? Like it's that far away from being able to be messed with. So yeah. I forgot what the question was.
It was just more like, is Umbral or like the node stacks that you run are not, those aren't as equivalent to Ledger Live.
Yeah, Ledger Live is confirming transactions all over the world for thousands of people, and it's doing it with their shitcoins too, right? So like it's so no, so it's I don't even know how they keep up with all of the different code changes and all these forks and stuff that are happening with all of these different shitcoins, and they have to. That means they just can't give the attention to Core like what Core might deserve. Maybe they run a different version of Core without even intending to run a contentious version, right? They just hit the upgrade button themselves, right? And next thing you know, they're running something that isn't what we agree that Bitcoin is. So yeah, I mean, Ledger is just doing a bunch of stuff, and your node is just going to be simply connected to your to your software wallet, and that's it. It's really simple.
We got
And
yellow.
has
Yellow
taken
on
over.
here.
Yellow's taken over the screen here for those who. This is my favorite part of the podcasts when they come out. Is somebody doing something on the screen that the podcast listeners can't see or hear.
He's writing. He wrote hi. So as yellow continues to go on, when you got into Bitcoin, were you like running a node from day one, or when did you decide to like start running a node? When should someone decide that, like, okay, I've had enough time in Bitcoin, now I should start running a node?
I think people would do that based on like how balls deep they are in terms of their wealth, right? Like that's when that kind of stuff. That's when you start kind of worrying about that kind of thing. Like in my case, I won't go too deep into my case, but in some people's cases, I bet they had their their Bitcoin on Coinbase, and for a long time before they went down the rabbit hole. In my case, I was, like I mentioned earlier, I wasn't trying to make any money off of Bitcoin after I bought the top and got my ass handed to me for months straight. I was trying to DCA my way into getting even, and then I was just going to sell it and walk away from Bitcoin. The problem is it went so far down so fast, and I put so much money into it for months that that's how I got kind of pushed down the rabbit hole. Is what the fuck is happening? How come I can't make my money back? Eventually, I sold my Litecoin, but I always held onto my Bitcoin, and it was because I'm stubborn. I don't like to lose money, and I was so yeah. In my case, once I had enough of my personal wealth in there, and once I knew a lot more because I'd gone down the rabbit hole, then that's when I started messing around with the software and running a node. And that at that time it was a Raspberry Pi 3.
Mm-hmm. So what? Okay, another question. Like, okay, say I have a cold card. I'm using a cold card. I'm using it with Sparrow or something, right? And I have my hard wallet, I have my Bitcoin in cold storage. Why should I run a node? Right?
Yeah, you don't have to. That was why I mentioned earlier that if you got your you do want to confirm transactions at some point. That's just for your own peace of mind. That was why I mentioned, if you're running something like Spectre over Core on a laptop, you don't need to keep that thing running all the time. You just do it whenever, if you're going to do a transaction, then at that point you'd want to fire up your node and do it through, like in this case I mentioned Spectre, you mentioned Sparrow. I mean, if you're running Sparrow, then you want Sparrow to be connected to your own node too. That's why I'm not talking about Sparrow specifically. I'm mentioning Spectre because Sparrow, you have another layer. You have to install Core and kind of do a little bit of work to connect Core to Sparrow. And then now when you're using Sparrow with your cold card, now you're interacting with your own node, right? If you don't do that, Sparrow will connect to what it considers to be um, privacy focused Electris servers, or and so you're kind of depending on them to be connecting to Electrum servers that are trustworthy if you don't run your own node.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that makes that. I mean, I'm kind of just giving you like devil's advocate questions right here, right? Like, if you were to look at the fiat system, or if you look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin replaces fiat. And so if you look at what a node accomplishes, what is a node replacing? Is it replacing banks? Is it replacing the auditors? Neither thing. Like, is there a comparison to what
that's one of the many rabbit holes of Bitcoin, right? That is like one of the mind-blowing things about what we've been empowered with this new digital cash that we've got. It's like, how is it possible that now I can totally detach myself from the system, verify my own transactions on my computer at home without depending on anybody? Is this really possible? Like, that's crazy. There's nothing like that. There's nothing that you can compare that to. Look at the size of that penis on that stick man.
And talking about penis, for a quick segment for my TA. I did a lot of research about these guys, and listen up.
You did a lot of penis research?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So, first of all, this is the time here. This is the time here and up here. And then like drum. Right. With them.
Can you mark the point on that where the merge happened, y'all?
The man having here. It's a coincidence, nothing to do with merge. It's now a lot of experts are saying that we're gonna go more low, right? Very low, and then break it, and then like go down here, right? But I say no. I say we do this here.
That looks like Luna's.
We do this here. Graph. We do it here, right?
Looks like a lot of shit going graphs.
It hits my penis here, right? And then yellow gets like a big boner and like shoots up. And that's how the new bull market will start again. I'm not an expert. It's not 100% sure, but I think it's going to happen.
It's not financial.
Thank you for having me for my yellow TA thing.
Thank you, Yellow. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yellow. So, Pedro, for anybody's listening, who's not running a node, who's not mining, doesn't even have their coins on their own cold storage, what kind of steps are the prioritized ones? How do you see yourself getting from non-sovereign to sovereign in the easiest manner possible?
Yeah, like that's why I mentioned earlier that this isn't like the purity testing that Bitcoin Twitter does. If somebody's already self-custodying, like, you've done 90% of what is hard. It's really, if it wasn't hard for you to self-custody,
it wouldn't go back into the bull market.
What I was saying, Greg, thank you, is that if it wasn't hard for you to take the coins off of an exchange and put yourself into control of your own wealth, then you probably didn't think through it well enough. That should be a hard step. Like, you've got to, like, having a backup system in place for that. Like, if you've already done it, if you've got it on your ledger, congratulations. I mean, that's 90% of the work. The rest of this, some of it is just techie nerd stuff. Some of it is just getting yourself to be a little more private and not having Ledger Live or other third parties seeing how much Bitcoin you have and the transactions you're doing. But yeah, definitely not your keys, not your coins. Get custody of your Bitcoin.
All right. Then what? Am I buying a miner or am I making a node?
You definitely shouldn't get a miner. The next step once is to just get Spectre onto your laptop or computer and download Bitcoin Core in the background using Spectre, and then connect your hardware wallet to Spectre. I really appreciate Sparrow Wallet. I think Sparrow Wallet is the best desktop wallet there is. I recommend Spectre in this kind of scenario to newbies just because it's so much easier to get started, and there's that one extra less step of having to download Core and connect to the software wallet.
All right. And
go ahead, Greg.
no, man, you've been quiet. Go ahead. It's not like you
So-
have your own show.
Hey, I have to go. I have to come on the Meme Factory, bro. I've been wanting to crash the show for a while. Yellow crashed the other day. You crashed the other day. I wanted to crash.
Fair
I
enough.
want to take it in my hands.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Not in your mouth.
Pedro, let me pick your brain for a little bit. You mentioned electors before. That's an Electrum full server. Correct me if I'm wrong, but most nodes run Electrum personal server, which is actually significantly slower than the full server. I'm actually really excited for the new Start 9 node because it, like, instead of relying on just like a Rock Pi or, you know, a Raspberry Pi, it's actually an i7. I think it has like 32 gigabytes of RAM. So were you talking about an Electrum personal server, or were you talking about electors?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about here. I would prefer to use Electris myself. I am the dumbass that paid my node $99, Greg, back in the day. So I was running the Electrum. So it's like Electris public, the public version of it, which is a little bit faster than the Electris, the personal server. On my current node, I run Fulcrum, which is another version of Electrum server. It's super fast. I mean, it's not anything like Electris. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I know the Umbrella. I think it's just using the regular personal server, which I agree, it's slow, but to that point, I mean, if you're doing it the right way and you're running it over Tor and like you're away and like you're trying to upload or like update your amount on your phone, you're going to do it over Tor, over Electrum. It's going to take forever. Right? Like the fact is, it's not going to be like Ledger Live where it's going to be really snappy and you're done. And you've also zipped all of your personal information all over the world to whatever European country has their stranglehold over Ledger Live. So yeah, it's going to be slow.
What? So wait. So you were saying you're using? So you don't use an Electrum personal server. What did you say you used?
I use Fulcrum. It's
and that connects with that. Like for example, that would connect with the Sparrow or with an Electrum wallet.
Yeah, that's right. It is an Electrum server, so it does all of the things that Electris does.
What are you running that on?
I'm running it on a Dell Micro 3060 or something like that.
Did you install that yourself?
I did, yeah. So Catan has this video series. It's like 8 or 9 videos where he goes through step by step and just teaches you how to, on command line, install each of these different types of apps. And one of them is Fulcrum that he recommends.
Jesus, that must have taken you a long time.
It did. So like it took me 3 days to do that, and then I did it again so that I could document it and put it on my website. That took me like 7 days because I was sitting there and documenting.
BTC sessions.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up my notes here.
Greg, it's time to take off your shirt.
I did that for Valis already. All right, so
That's right.
let me see if I have to read this the right way. Hang on. If the meme factory did exist, and we all know it doesn't,
In it.
who would you like? Who would you retweet? And who would you mute?
RD.
All three?
Right. Yeah, I do that every day.
That's a fact.
All right. So we're running out of time. You've been really generous with your hour here with us tonight, Pedro. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with? Anything you want to ask members of the Meme Factory? You know, you don't usually get to ask us questions.
No, I'm having an issue with my voice right now for some reason. Follow upgrade node or node upgrade.
Also in the show
if you want to ask questions. I love to talk about this stuff. So anybody that needs help, I've had some people reach out and ask for help in terms of following the guide that I've got on citadels.org if you want to do what Catan did. So
I'll probably reach out, Pedro, to help me set up a personal server. I mean, not a personal server, but a server, because there's so many guides out there, but bro, they're fucking daunting as fuck, man. It's like shitty videos with command line and fuck that. But
yeah, it is all command line too. If you think about it that way, then Catan's guide is not going to be for you too, because it's a lot of that. It wasn't that hard though. He breaks these videos down into like 15-minute. They're like 15 minutes long.
Are you running Linux on your computer?
Yeah. It's a Ubuntu server which has no GUI. It's just command line.
Okay, and one last thing. If you're abroad, like if you're in
Like
Australia,
Oh,
if you're in Australia smacking Rusty's ass, if you wanted to connect to your server, could you do that?
You can do it so that you can connect the same way that like Umbrel does. I don't have mine set up that way, but I do have it set up because I'm running BTC Pay server and it's public facing. So I'm using that to be able to accept payments for our merch site, for the Meme Factory's merch site. But I don't have it set up to where I can connect to Fulcrum from far away. I just didn't want to go through that because I'm not familiar enough with the networking issues. I would be opening myself up to somebody being able to connect to my node from far away. But I am like digging into that so I can figure out what kind of hardening measures I could put in place that would allow me to connect from far away and still be safe, I guess.
Gotcha. So you can do it, but
nope. That was your last question. Don't ask him another one. Rusty's
all right,
up.
just one last thing.
Nope, Rusty's up, and then I'm rugging it. You can
fucking
question?
Fucking kangaroos.
All right, so we can do Rusty, we can do Sean, and then we're out.
I run a node inside Pedro's basement so that I can accept Bitcoin on my website. He helped me set that up as well. So Shopify is like a Shopify plugin, BTC Pay server. Can you give us a quick 30-second recap on that?
Yeah, it's actually one of the steps that you go through in Catan series. He shows you how to install BTC Pay server on your node and then make that public facing using Cloudflare. It's free. You can, as long as you buy the domain name. So you can host a BTC Pay server online. Anybody can connect to it on ClearNet, and it's free. So if anybody's interested in it, I mean, you don't even have to do it that way. After doing that, I learned how to just install BTC Pay server, which when you think about it, it's just another node stack. So it's just core with software running on top of it. So like some people might be interested in just running a BTC Pay server and that they don't need a node for anything else other than being able to open up a store and accept payments that way and have a way to invoice. BTC Pay server is fucking fantastic. It's free, super easy to install on its own. You can do that on one of those machines also, super reliable. I'm a big fan of BTC Pay server.
Okay, Pedro. We got something coming up 2024. You may have heard of it. It's called the Halving Party. Block 840,000. I secretly made this party because I wanted a time where the whole meme factory could come together, and we haven't done that yet. So don't tell anybody this. But are you coming? The plebs want to know, are you coming to the Halving Party in El Salvador in 2024?
I seriously doubt any plebs care. If I go, I'll be the guy with the name tag that says Abdul.
Good OPSEC.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, dude, honestly, come down, bring your family.
Thank you.
Know.
Thanks for the invite.
We're already working on a lot of stuff together. So, but for everyone else out there, come to the Halving Party.
Sweet.
All right, Nico, thanks for coming on. Pedro, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Nico.
And thank you guys so much for the invite. Thank you for letting me crash. And I just want to say this: Simply Bitcoin will be 100% at the fucking Halving Party, and we are super, super pumped to be there.
Let's go.
Excellent. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thank you, my friends. Have a good night. Stay safe out there.
Good night.